Here at Davos, there are lots of themes from world economy to culture to diversity. A lot of these things are often discussed, but one thing that has been a recurring theme at Davos has been the inclusion of women. In fact, one of the most popular pavilions here is the Equality Lounge. And over the past decade, they've been doing some phenomenal work. They've worked towards bringing in more women, but is that really enough? And trying to look at it through an India lens, I've got with me Neelam Chhibber today. Welcome to Moneycontrol.
Pleasure to be here.
So, Neelam, of course, is a veteran at Davos, has been coming here for so many years. Unlike me, who's just trying to understand what's happening, you can clearly see she's warmed up to the weather. Again, unlike somebody like me, Neelam, really want to understand some tangible solutions from you in terms of seeing women participate in the workforce back home. That number has increased. But sadly enough, not just in India, world over, the trend is the past 1 decade, we've moved back on our feminism journey because lesser women have actually made it into top positions. And that is a worrying sign.
Yeah. So I think this is a fascinating topic. I work in gender, and I believe that this is a journey which has to start from the grassroots. So we run a social economy vertical where we work on gender and climate issues, and we see that it's a journey that the governments, that the corporates and civil society have to take together. So starting from what is happening in our villages, actually there has been a fall in women's labour force participation in India. There actually has been. Today India's female labour force participation is almost the same as Pakistan's, right? And the reasons behind it are quite simple. We are an agrarian economy. We have the largest number of smallholder farmers. Men are being migrated to the cities for work, but women are left behind. They have to look after the elderly. All their facilities are there, their ration, the government schooling. So they stay back, and therefore they are not able to participate in the workforce. It's critical that we enable jobs to go down to the women in villages, and the government has programs through its NITI Aayog endeavors with aspirational districts. There are a lot of efforts being made that we increase the economic empowerment of women at village level so that their voices are heard better in their families, their decisions are more inclusive towards nutrition, etc.
What about giving benefits for domestic work as well? What about understanding that running a house also takes work? There's a huge debate going on back home about rewarding a homemaker. Your thoughts?
I think it's a phenomenal need, and it's something that advanced economies are seriously working on. Yeah. The fact that there is less burden on the government system for elder care, child care, which a lot of the advanced economies have to provide to their citizens. But we women do it at home, free of cost, and then we are just called housewives. So I think at every level there is a huge need for this kind of discourse to happen. And like we started this conversation, it's quite clear that even with the most advanced nations, we see this lack of diversity, even in a place like Davos, where there's a struggle to find women to put onto the panels.
Is it? It's a struggle to find women to actually be on panels? That's why we keep seeing repetitive faces?
There is obviously an issue, right? Because now there's been a big improvement. We have at least 1 or 2 women on every panel in the Congress Center, but that really wasn't the case many years ago. But the awareness that the situation must be improved is very, very high. And as we were talking earlier, even in media or any other area, it's so difficult that a woman is expected to balance family as well as work. And therefore, I think hitting and getting past the glass ceiling, it'll take some time.
Yeah. I have loads to say on the subject, so let me just begin by saying this. When we look at women in leadership positions back home, the struggle is exactly what you said, balancing work and balancing life. Often it is a competition between the two. Women are expected to man up, or you're expected to let go of what you would otherwise desire. It's a choice every woman has to make and wake up with every morning. What are we doing to change it? And not just ideas and talks. In my personal opinion, I feel there's a lack of role models in that space. We've had women and top CEOs being talked about from across the world, really, who've risen to the top but talked about how they had to compromise family life. What are we doing to change it now?
I think there is a very vibrant ecosystem in India now of peer learning. And if it's not there in your particular sector, it is there in other sectors. There are a lot of women peer learning groups. Yeah, it may not be specific to certain sectors, but they are there, and you should definitely reach out. And I don't think it's a question of manning up. Women come with their unique skills, which they should never lose, because having lots of women acting more like men is not the solution. Women have phenomenal abilities in teamwork, collaborative work, and we need to, that's the way forward for society to solve its problems. We really have to get more collaborative, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we bring to the table.
Yeah.
And that's what we should always go with.
Let me say this, not only teamwork, not only collaboration. In fact, at the Equality launch, they had something really unique. They were putting together Web3 and women leaders. And they were saying the next big revolution in innovation, which is going to be Web 3.0, should be led by women. And that's where the journey really needs to begin to catch up to all these years as well. I want to talk about tangible solutions. So much talk, बातें बहुत होती हैं. हम कर क्या रहे हैं concrete? Because, and I ask you this because you're also part of the NITI Aayog. What are we doing there? Government ownership from India side, what is that?
Yeah, so I'm on a couple of committees at the NITI Aayog, and I think there is a big push and pressure, and I had promised I would give some solutions before I came on to this. But really, as a leader, as a woman leader, working with the government and with corporates and with a lot of civil society partners, as well as the Schwab Foundation, of the World Economic Forum, we are really trying to strengthen the world of the social economy. We are really trying to say that we need blended finance. We need more innovative finance instruments because it's the resources that are going to drive new thought.
Explain a blended finance to a 6-year-old woman, 6-year-old young woman.
So blended finance is all about bringing in different kinds of finance which wants different kinds of returns. Normal impact and normal investment, PE investment, which grows your economy, looks at just financial return. Now there is this big ESG thing being put in. But social enterprises and the social economy looks at triple bottom lines. Financial return, social return, how many more jobs are you creating for women, etc. And then you are evaluated on those returns also, as well as environmental return. What are you doing to stop climate change? So we are looking at designing $1 billion innovative finance instrument, literally, that's global, that has a good blend of women-led organizations. World over, there is a push for more localized financial instruments to be built, women-led financial instruments to be built. And as women, we are very clear. Whenever we talk about women, all we are saying is 50% women. We take the men along with us. Men will always be partners in our journey.
They have to be.
They have to
They
be.
have to be.
I think that's fundamental. And we should never make the mistake the men made.
Yeah.
So it's all about the balance, and the answers are around the corner, but I believe the answers are in the social economy, which is driven to a very, very large extent, in a very balanced way, by men and women.
Right. I think another answer and key element here is going to be financial literacy as well. A quick India example here is the fact that women are great in managing their kitchen budgets, great in saving up. How is it that really, it's an IP, it's a woman's IP. How do we utilize that better? How do we make them think bigger?
Exactly. So as a woman, I'm standing here, I'm saying, using my IP and trying to build something very large, something at scale, but it should be granular in nature. As women, we know that one size does not fit all. We know there are 3-4 children, each one has to be treated differently, husband has to be treated differently, in-laws have to be treated differently. So even when we will design instruments, we will ensure that they are granular. It's not one size fits all, because that's basically the problem with a lot of solutions. And on your financial literacy piece, I mean, you've just been spot on. We have women in our villages who, do the work, they take the money home, but they do not know how to go to an ATM to withdraw the money. So they say ATM card हम अपने भाई को दे देते हैं. We said नहीं, आप खुद जाओगे ATM, आप खुद अपना पैसा निकालोगे, right? And I think in India it's been a boon. The digital payments thing has been a boon. The smartphone payments has been a boon, and our women are getting so empowered to go there, do that, and they all say that if we have a phone, we are looked at with such respect in our families. When we talk about, our payments, our bank accounts, because all the women who work in our collectives have their own bank accounts. So I think this formalization, which even the Indian government is pushing, that informal cash, informal, everyone must have a Jandan bank account, is the right way to go. Yeah, because it is keeping the women's money in their own hands, in their own accounts, and it's making them even better in how they use their money.
So we've discussed tools that have helped so far, perhaps some that can be worked upon more. But we're at Davos. It's about the word here, second most word here used is innovation, right? What is going to be the next big sort of innovation when it comes to gender equality?
Well, it's out here. I'm pushing it left, right, and center. Gender is central to climate action. It is the most pivotal thing to climate action. I'm writing a paper on it, but climate is not about just reducing carbon or reducing emission or reducing waste. It's about reducing vulnerabilities. It is globally accepted that climate action is about reducing vulnerabilities, increasing social returns. And that is, it's clear that it lies in the hands of the women. In the poorest communities, it's been proven. You put incomes in the hands of the women, you will reduce the overall vulnerability of society. She will use the money properly. She will ensure it goes for the right things. There are thousands of women we are working with who say we are so happy to earn this money because now we do not have to go to our
What is the link to climate action there?
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Give me an example.
There's a lot of research behind this that climate action is not just about reducing carbon and planting more trees, but if you have a country like India, which has to grow its economy, it has to pull millions of people out of poverty. Are we going to take the China route? Who are the world's biggest carbon emitters today? US and China. If India has to do what China did, if you do it the Chinese way, you are never going to get to net zero.
So what is India's way?
India's way has to be more localized. As you can see, global supply chain has been disrupted. Why does China have to be the factory for the world? Why are we importing everything from China? Don't we have enough people?
Right.
This entire Atmanirbhar Bharat is what? Let's make more in India. Let's make more in rural India. Let's make more with the women in rural India who then are not being forced to migrate to cities. So take work to where they are, in the villages. Use the technology boom and produce.
Yeah. I'll be booed if I don't raise up the issue of equal pay. And so I want to understand your thoughts on that. And again, one solution that can actually, your advice to women maybe, or one solution where you actually see this come at par.
I would just say that equal pay is a no-brainer. It should be a requisite. I mean, an equal pay, okay, in rural India, it doesn't exist because women are earning less than men in rural India. But in urban India, I mean, a company that doesn't believe in rural pay, I mean, in equal pay, women shouldn't even work for it. I'm being a little...
But a lot of women don't have that choice.
Yeah. But in rural India, all I can say on equal pay is that we really have to strive towards it. Yeah, there is a big gap in rural India. Urban India, I mean, all I can say is that it's such a no-brainer. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think your expressions and your sort of emotion about it really spoke volumes. So thank you so much, Neelam, for your time, and good luck with the rest of Davos.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.